It has been a while.
It's been a while.
So, welcome to a very long overdue episode of Us in Limbo.
We're back.
We are back after, 7 months I think it's been now. Probably close to 8 now at this point. We're heading into early September now, and I think our last video was back in January or so, maybe February.
I think so, yeah.
So, a lot has changed in the last few months. Obviously, we have been silent for the most part on YouTube, at least when it comes to, I guess, making videos. Probably the biggest thing to say would be COVID, obviously.
Been very busy with work, well, before COVID, and between COVID
as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's been weird everywhere. I'm sure everyone else understands.
Yeah, so us being here in Melbourne, we've gone through a few different stages of lockdown here, where we actually can't legally kind of leave the house, technically outside of essential kind of services and whatnot. So we've kind of been, I guess, doing our own thing, kind of just going about and whatnot.
Yeah, filling in the time.
Yeah. For the most part, lack of videos was due to us being lazy, more so me being lazy as well. We actually recorded about 2 or 3 videos, and I just never got around to editing them.
It's the worst part.
Yeah, for me at least it is. What we've been up to, I guess, kind of just, staying home, staying safe. I've actually lost a lot of weight while in quarantine. Kind of, I guess, took this time to self-improve. So I'm down about 10-15 kilos or so. I'm getting close to my pretty ideal weight. Been dieting pretty hard, I guess, just staying on top of that, making sure I'm not, I guess, gaining weight while in lockdown. My hair is blonde. It's gotten quite long. It needs a haircut.
Out.
Yeah, so I'm keeping this headband to keep my hair out of my eyes throughout this video and most other times as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've been working from home for the last 7 months or so. I'm lucky to have a job that's secure in that kind of area where I can work from home. It has led to me being a little bit burnt out in regards to, I guess, working. It's very hard to separate, for me at least, my home life from my working life, because obviously we go from my workstation to my workstation after I finish work, because it's my after hours hobbies. So yeah, and what about yourself?
12 hours of computer for
Yeah,
you.
pretty much.
Or more than 12 hours, actually.
Yeah.
I've just been at home this lockdown playing Animal Crossing and drawing, but I kind of injured my arm from drawing, so I can't really do that right now, which is really sad. And that's basically it. I think I want to take advantage of the time that we aren't doing anything, because when are we ever going to not have this time?
It's
yeah.
Unprecedented times is a very common sentence.
I think I just don't want to push myself so hard and think that I have to do something when the whole world is on pause. So
yeah. So I guess jumping into things today, I posted on my story a couple of days ago regarding what kind of content you'd like to see. As I'm sure you might be able to tell, maybe not, we have a new camera set up, so the quality is probably going to be a little bit better. It's a bit more handy and that sort of stuff as well. So, in saying that, what you can kind of expect in the coming weeks / months / however long.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I have, I guess, kind of decided we do want to make a push for, I guess, making sure we are producing good content and frequently. So when it comes to that sort of stuff there, we want to get out and do a bit more vlogs once quarantine kind of eases up. Can actually go out.
Excited to be outside.
Yeah, we can show you some stuff about Melbourne, whatnot there, hang out with a couple of our friends, introduce them and whatnot. And hopefully just, I guess, get some nice content for you guys. Yeah. Jumping into things today, the biggest one that got requested a couple times was styling. So styling is a topic that I think both me and Mary will have a lot of, I guess, contribution on. Maybe more so Mary,
I guess.
because she works, I guess, as a sales assistant at a luxury boutique, Acne.
I studied subjects of styling at uni, but I feel like some people think it's subjective. There are things that you may want to follow, some things you want to break, but we'll elaborate on that.
Yeah, so we have a few, I guess, we feel like we can contribute enough in regards to, I guess, maybe people getting started, or I guess people who do have a firm grasp on the basics and want to kind of elevate their fits and whatnot.
Or even want to change their style completely. Yeah. This is the perfect time to do it as well. Why not?
Yeah. So I guess there's about maybe 4 or 5 categories in regards to
overlap, I think.
Yeah, there's a few kind of overlap in those kind of subcategories to each of these that we think are really important. So there's silhouette, color, proportions, which kind of mixes into silhouette but not really. Textures, and almost the theme of your fit as well. So we'll kind of delve into the themes a bit later on. It's probably not super important when it comes to a fit, but it can be, I guess, a
make
pretty
or break,
big, yeah,
who
almost like a
knows?
make and
Yeah.
break. First thing we should probably jump into is going to be, I think for myself, is color.
Yeah.
Color, I think, is one of the most important things when it comes
Especially
to fit.
for you,
For me,
really moved away from just wearing black. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So color to me is something that is not mandatory in outfits. You can wear all black. I still wear all black quite
We're
frequently.
both wearing black today.
Just easy to throw on, you know. We went for a walk this morning, just put on some black clothes, nothing special, you know. So in regards to that, color has a few different kind of elements to my understanding, at least. I think there is color theory. Color theory is, I think, in my opinion, the biggest thing when it comes to color, as there's not strict, moderately kind of firm rules / I guess
understandings of what colors work well with each other.
Yeah.
In naturally, like the color theory is formed naturally, like you see it like on the rainbow, like the way colors are made as well, like how brown is made, how purple is made, like it's all like a natural thing as well.
Yeah. So color theory boils down to basically what works with each other. So you have, obviously, I think there's a few different kind of tones that you can use. You can use like warm tones, so such as like obviously like the reds, orange, yellows, like warmer tones. You have cool tones, so like the blues, greens, purples. You have the earth tones, like the browns, creams.
Like mid-tones in between them that will gradient, like they will move towards each other, I guess. Yeah.
So basically there's a bunch of different tones you can, I guess, incorporate to your fit. One of the biggest things that I think people get confused about is color blocking. I see a lot of people talking about color blocking, having one single color item in their fit and being like, oh, I color blocked this fit. That's not actually technically correct. Color blocking more relates to, I guess, mismatching colors from the opposite end of the spectrum. So, for example, blue and orange, this is pretty common. Red and blue, I think is one of them as well. Red and green, green and brown.
Purple and yellow.
There's a few different kind of like... It's very easy to kind of, I guess, see what is going to be a complementary color, which turns into color blocking.
It's already very naturally pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, it's very naturally pleasing to the eye. It's a very easy way to make your colors mesh well and look quite nice. We'll stop a little circle like right in the middle of the screen here, just over the color wheel, and basically the way color blocking works is a little dot here and a little dot here. Opposite ends of the spectrum, it'll rotate. It'll always be the exact opposite of the spectrum, which is where your color blocking will be. There are dozens of tools online that'll help you. Just basically, you can pick a color you want to wear, and it'll tell you what goes with it, what opposite of it, what color blocking works. In saying that, monochromatic fits can be any color of the rainbow. You can have a full green fit and it's
Monochrome
monochromatic.
doesn't mean just black and white. Monochrome means one singular color.
Exactly, or one singular shade along the lines of like light green, dark green. It's
like
still
grey kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. So once you get into those grayscale kind of areas, that's when it's all black and like all maybe light greys and stuff like that there. So there's a few different subsections to color matching. So there's complementary, split complementary, monochromatic, then there's the more advanced ones that have three colors, which is triadic, and there's also four, which is tetradic, I think it's instead of being, so obviously two dots, so let's just use like obviously a circle, you'll have a dot here and a dot here, that'll be complementary. Triadic will be a dot here, and a dot here, forming like a triangle. Yep. And then tetradic will be forming a rectangle essentially, or a square on the circular thing. It'll have four different colors from four different areas that'll all be complementing each other and stuff like that. Basically, I think color, when it comes to that kind of area, you should be definitely picking something from that kind of area, and it'll work pretty well for the most part, I would say.
And like, no worries about black and white. Everyone knows that black and white goes with every singular color, because black and white are not colors, they are shades. So they are meant to be working with every color that exists on the spectrum. Yeah. So
what we'll do is, I guess, maybe at the end of the video we'll go over maybe a few outfits I'll put together, just showing maybe some color blocking and whatnot there. With my wardrobe I can definitely do it, so I can definitely show some nice color blocking, maybe Mary herself as well. Next thing I would say is proportions. Proportions is, when it comes to styling, probably the most make or break thing, I would say. When it comes to proportions, it can either make you look really stumpy, make you look a bit tall.
Like, I for one have to really work with my height. I'm only like 5 feet, so looking taller is preferred for me, so I have to of course take into consideration like the length of my pants. And
in saying that as well, I also am quite short. Well, I'm average, I'm about 5'9", 175 centimeters. So I'm basically your stock standard person there, so there's nothing special about my proportions of any sort. Proportions can be broken down into a few different, I guess, categories. How tall you want to look, how short you want to look, how wide you want to look, stuff like that. Proportions, for the most part, is how you separate your body into different segments. So if you think about it, your entire body will be 100%. 100% of your body into it. And we're going to break this up into different blocks. If you want to look taller, you should be utilising high-waisted pants, making your legs look longer, thus splitting the bottom half of your body into 70% of your body and then 30% being your torso. The 30% legs, 70% torso. Other way around. 70% legs, 30% torso.
So to elongate your...
Yeah, it basically elevates your entire bottom half of the body,
Yeah.
making you look substantially taller, and is quite honestly very stock standard when it comes to, I guess, proportions.
Traditionally, aesthetically, like, pleasing proportions. I
Yeah,
guess,
exactly so. You can flip it around, so 70% torso, 30% legs. You don't see this a whole lot. You might see this in a lot of older days with a lot of layering, such like the Yeezy days. Even Rick. Rick kind of moved past this for the most part, wearing pods and, I guess, like long tanks, long shirts. This was a big thing in the past. He says, I haven't seen this too often recently, I'd say. I don't think there's many designers doing a lot of like the long drop crotch stuff.
Yeah, it's mostly like more avant-garde styles that really like want to play with that, like elongated, long, flowy.
OG, of course, Com have this kind of, I guess, similar kind of aesthetic where they do kind of make your torso quite long with long shirts, stuff like that. Com, not so much. Maybe Com has a more of the Sarawel pants that is in suiting. Which kind of breaks into the next big kind of, I guess, segment, which is 33%, or splitting your body into thirds. So this is a pretty uncommon kind of, I guess, styling trait. One of my favorite designers, Kiko, actually does this a lot. So I'm going to throw a couple runway examples up on the screen of basically the way he splits the body into thirds. So the way this is done is by having a maybe shorter kind of body, like a shorter torso, having a middle layer to break it up in between, and then having the other 33% of your body being like maybe like your bottom half, your legs and your shoes, of course. So splitting this up basically doesn't do anything to help your proportions, if I'm being honest. It makes you look pretty irregular, but it can basically just make your fit quite interesting, as you will have a top layer, a middle layer, and of course a bottom layer to kind of spread things out and make things look a bit more maybe intricate or a bit more thought out and a bit more complex in general. In saying that it can make your elevate fit look really weird because you're trying too much, or it can make it look really good because you're executing it really well. It's one of those things that can be really good when it looks good, but it can look really bad when it's done bad. It's pretty simple. I'd say that probably applies to most, except for maybe the high-waisted pants, and that for the most part it's very safe. In saying that, proportions mixes into, I guess, also the oversized kind of aesthetic as well. It's kind of hard to go wrong with that, because as long as the item you are buying is intentionally oversized, it'll probably look okay for the most part.
Like drop shoulders, I think like longer sleeves, longer hemlines.
Wider bodies, opposed to, I guess, just being big everywhere, which plays in fact with buying things that are sizes too big. Buying a hoodie that's a triple XL very often won't provide the same result as a intentionally oversized hoodie.
Yeah, like a boxy oversized hoodie, compared to like a regular fit hoodie that's 3 sizes too big.
It's 3 sizes too long. It's gonna be too long in the body. It's gonna be too long in the arms. It's just gonna look.
It's gonna look long.
Great. Yeah, it's gonna look long for the most part.
Instead of like the nice round shape that you are looking for.
Yeah. So basically, I think Vetmont, of course, is known for the kind of the big oversized hoodies at this point here as well. Cavemp is more so just kind of boxy hoodies
because it's cropped as well.
Yeah, they're a bit of a
so
short
like
body to them.
taking into consideration like the hemlines that you use for each part, like each piece plays a really important role, like where it stops on your own body, like what stops on Isaac's like hip won't stop on my hip. So like obviously these things will have to be styled differently on different body types and different heights.
Yeah, so I think tying into that there, the most important thing would be to buy things that are your size. Don't go buying pants that are like 4 sizes too big to get the oversized look, as it will probably not look great.
Unless it is like capable of doing that, but like it's
but
very
for the most part it's going to look a bit wonky there, unless you are hiding maybe the belted area and the belt pant.
Yeah,
belt.
styling it to the point where you can compensate for that like awkward size gap.
Next up, textures, I'd say. Textures are one thing I think that aren't super important when it comes to fit, but it can make a fit a bit better. I think texture's importance comes into play when your fit is simple. Textures make or break a fit when your fit is very plain, such as all black. Probably the biggest perpetrator of this. People wear all black, it's all wool, all cotton, it all looks very flat. Your fit looks basically flat, it has no depth to it.
You might look just like a shadow.
Yeah, exactly. So if your entire fit has the exact same textures, it'll all blend together and it'll look like a big black blob. Basically, textures to me, I think are very important when it comes to black, as it helps differentiate pieces from each other. I don't really have any examples of this on hand. I have a photo from back maybe 2 years ago when I was wearing an all black fit, but everything was different, like the texture and whatnot, which made the fit a bit more interesting. I'll show a close up on the screen.
Because textures, like the way the light hits textures, will show like different shadows of it, and like it'll make your outfit a little bit more interesting. Because, yeah. Like say like black mohair sweater with nice like wool trousers makes the black outfit not so plain.
Yeah, exactly. So basically it's like maybe linens and stuff like that as well. Linens and silk.
Like leather pants even, yeah.
All different textures that can make a fit quite nice, but again, it can also ruin a fit if you aren't playing with them properly. But for the most part, they are pretty minuscule when it does come to, I guess, a fit, so it's not the biggest deal, I would say personally, but yeah.
It elevates a lot more than anything.
Exactly. It definitely brings up the fit more than it brings it down. In saying that, probably the last thing when it comes to styling would be the theme of your fit, like we discussed earlier. Clashing themes in a fit can be the worst thing to your fit, honestly. I personally don't see mixing aesthetics can be good. It can, for the most part, it can be done okay.
It can be like, you can perceive it as very challenging and like you're breaking the rules, but sometimes some rules can be broken, some may not be great.
Yeah, like it can look okay, but for the most part it's going to look pretty weird. Yeah. So my biggest perpetrator of this would be breaking it down to two categories, formal and non-formal. Formal being something like suiting, dress shirts, classy trousers. Maybe like, trousers not so much anymore these days.
Trousers, like, oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I'd say more like formal, like upper like suiting, like blazers, stuff like that. There belong in formal fits. They don't belong in like fits with cargo pants, stuff like that. They're distressed trousers. It can look a bit funny unless the shirt does blend into that kind of, I guess, aesthetic. So Saint Laurent being kind of, I guess, an example where you have obviously like the ripped jeans, stuff like that. There you have like button downs or long oversized button downs that are quite flowy. Those are a bit of an exception in this kind of case here as well. With obviously like
still accentuates with like really nice slim tapered bottoms and then really beautiful like leather slim shaft pointy boots.
Yeah. So that's I think a good example of obviously clashing aesthetics that do kind of work. But I don't really have anything on hand without, I guess, being mean to some people. I don't really want to.
We're not the type of people to name and shame. That's not very nice.
So it's more so just when people try and pair, I guess, maybe like, let's say, like cargo trousers with a pair of like slim formal boots or slim derbies, Oxfords.
With like wider cargos.
Yeah, stuff like that there. Like, I think it can look quite clashing. Examples of this, of like what we're talking about, with something like be like a pair of like Saint Laurent combats or like Wyatt's even. In terms of derbies, maybe some slimmer Andy derbies and stuff like that there. Yeah. Anything that is too slim does intentionally look formal for the most part, I would say. Anything
like
a bit
sleek.
Yeah, too sleek does lean towards that formal aesthetic more than grunge or so, I guess, with the opposite term.
Yeah.
So, in saying that they're derbies, I think what makes a derby less formal is the size of the sole, how bulbous the toe is.
Any extra details on top, like metal tip, like metal caps or whatever.
Yeah, like Tom Brown, they often have a lot of their derbies have or most of them these days have wingtip to them there, and the sole is quite sleek and sharp. I probably wouldn't pin those with anything except for a more formal suiting. But again, once you branch into other formal brands like Jill Sander, they have reached like a really nice pair of derbies recently where they have a very aggressive sole with contrast paneling on the top with a meshed upper. Prada as well.
Yeah, with the monolith derbies.
Those are very popular recently as well. Prada in general have pretty big on their soles. Bottega Veneta as well, I'd say, aren't really a formal derby, but they do have Bottega boots. I mean, more so recently, they've become very popular with a really fat sole. Those are more so a very non-formal kind of.
It's quite versatile, I'd say.
Yeah,
like people still wear them with like a blazer and like a skirt, and it's still quite sleek.
Yeah.
But you can still wear it with like pooling pants and like an oversized shirt, and it's just like a more workwear look.
Yeah, exactly so. Also in saying that, I think also one thing that we can use an example of would be very, very popular recently would be the Stephen Cook straps, the button straps. I see a lot of people buying these straps here and pairing them with like porter bags, just bags aren't purses, honestly, and I think that's one of the things that kind of brings the entire fit down to...
And really downplays the story of the bag strap itself because it's meant to be very delicate and beautiful and feminine.
Yeah, so I think Stephen Cook is one of those designers recently that has been embracing the very feminine masculinity, which is a weird thing to say, but it's very feminine menswear, which is really nice. I actually love a lot of Stephen Cook stuff. So people wearing these straps with, again, porter bags, with like a distressed vintage hoodie and like cargos and a pair of Jordans. I think to me that's just kind of like defeating the whole point of the bag strap itself.
Yeah, like feel free if you do want to dress like that, of course, but like...
The most important thing to take away from the video today is these are just some tips. When it comes to actually dressing, wear what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Wear what you like if you feel confident.
Feel free to experiment, of course, but like... I think carrying a story with like your clothes is also very important. Like that's why designers make collections. There's stories behind the products that they make. So I think that's also something that can be considered.
The most important thing with the clothing is feeling confident in what you're wearing. So at the end of the day, these are just some, I guess, kind of basic
things to consider
when it comes to, I guess, dressing up, wearing clothes. By no means are we the end all of clothing discussion. Wear what you like at the end of the day. We are just two people here.
We're not here to like make these rules and like make you live like this.
Yeah, just some tips essentially.
And like this is just how like how we think when we dress ourselves.
Exactly. These are just sort of our kind of internal workings of when it comes to putting together some fits. So that's pretty much it for the video today. We'll jump into a B-roll of some, I guess, outfits. With experiment with color blocking and silhouettes and stuff like that. There, we'll show some of the colors. We'll show some of the 33% kind of, I guess, body blocking sort of stuff there, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. Long video, 20 minutes or so. Appreciate you guys, I guess, supporting us. Sorry for no content if you guys do actually enjoy our content and whatnot there.
We'll try harder.
Definitely expect a lot of videos in the future. I would say coming up out when we leave COVID, as we obviously have a new setup, we're going to get some vlogs out there, maybe document some more day-to-day life sort of stuff, and
more videos like this as well, maybe.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to see there. Yeah, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned.
Bye.